When no one can shake you anymore, not with words, silence, or betrayal, most men live easily stirred. A disrespectful remark, a broken promise, a simple delay. Suddenly, anger, bitterness, or exhaustion takes over, not because the world is cruel, but because they never learned to master their emotional reactions. Yet the Stoics remembered what we forgot. True power belongs to those who stay calm under pressure. Mental strength isn't physical, might it's control, and self-control begins with one unchanging truth: you don't have to react. In this video, you'll learn how to build emotional mastery through Stoic philosophy, how to stop others from pressing your emotional buttons, and protect your inner peace like a man who refuses to bow to chaos. You'll discover why lowering expectations isn't weakness but wisdom. Silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. Emotions aren't the enemy, but how you respond to them can be. If you've ever felt overlooked for your calmness or life keeps knocking you off balance, you're not alone. But today, that changes. This isn't just encouragement, it's a profound transformation. Be patient. What you're about to hear could reshape how you face every challenge. If you find it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with those who need it. Because strength isn't loud, it's steadfast. From now on, no one and nothing will control your peace. First, treat self-control as your shield. There's a tiny, almost forgotten moment when a man loses his power, when someone interrupts, mocks, or ignores him, and inside, a storm starts to brew. His chest tightens, jaw clenches, voice grows louder than necessary. Just like that, calm is gone. Not because the other person is strong, but because he reacted, and in that reaction, he surrendered. We often mistake reaction for strength. We think the loudest growl shows power, but the truth is, harsher strength lies not in noise, but in the silence you choose. Self-control isn't about feeling nothing. It's about refusing to be controlled by your feelings. You don't need to be numb. You need to be precise. Anger is instinctive, fast, loud, fiery, dangerous. It feels like action but often leads to regret. When someone insults you and you explode, they win by stealing your calm. They've taken control of your state, and you, unknowingly, let them write your story. The easily upset man has no walls, no boundaries. His emotions are public property. Anyone can step in, press a button, and take him over for a moment. Now imagine another man. He hears the same insult, but stays unchanged. His breath steady, his gaze steady. He doesn't suppress his reaction. He masters it because he's trained himself. Because he understands emotional control isn't about toughness. It's about not handing strangers the keys to your peace. This is Stoic power. Not ego, but owning your time, energy, and emotional space. Perhaps you've been here before. Stuck in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Your heart races. Words rise on your lips. And then it all fades. But you're left tense, distracted, off balance. That's the cost of reacting. You pay long after the moment has passed. The Stoic man knows this. So he pauses. He lets the feeling rise, but doesn't let it take control. He breathes deeply. Remember, the world owes you no perfection. Control lies within you. Most live in survival mode, ready to defend. Prove. Retaliate. But that stance weakens you. It puts your identity in others' hands. They insult you. You respond. They praise you. You smile. You're no longer yourself. You become ruled by emotions. And the man who reacts is a slave to the world's emotional tides. So how do you build your shield? You start with stillness. When triggered, don't speak. Don't act. Feel the wave rise inside, but don't ride it. Watch it. Acknowledge it. But don't follow it. That quiet moment is your true strength. There, you break the cycle. Gradually, you become less reactive, more composed. You stop fighting noise with noise. You no longer chase fairness in petty arguments. You guard your energy as if it were your lifeblood because it is. This is not passivity. The Stoic man does not ignore injustice, but he knows when to act and when to let go. He understands when to speak up and when silence is a stronger weapon. He chooses his battles wisely, and when he engages, he acts with clarity, not anger. You don't need to prove your strength. You only need to own it. The loudest voices often lack control. The quiet, calm, steady ones are the ones truly felt. That person earns respect. From this moment on, let your first instinct be silence, not reaction. Make stillness your habit. Let peace become your signature. Once you master this, you become untouchable, not because the world stops testing you, but because it no longer controls what once did. Secondly, lower your expectations of others. You are often disappointed because you expect too much. This is a trap. It begins quietly with the thought that someone should be wiser, do more, be more understanding. You hope they will say the right things, appreciate you, respect your boundaries without reminders. When they don't, you feel hurt, frustration, anger, even betrayal arise. You start believing people are letting you down. But the truth is simpler and far harder. They are simply being themselves. The pain doesn't come from their actions, but from your expectation that they would be different. Expectations are silent contracts. You write, but no one else signs. You expect a friend to protect you, a partner to be more patient, a colleague to recognize your efforts, but it doesn't happen. In that gap between what you want and what you get, your peace vanishes. It's in this space that resentment grows. You carry the weight of who you want others to be, and it slowly crushes you. The Stoics of old did not waste time blaming others for being themselves. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest people not out of pessimism, but because he was prepared. When you accept human nature, you stop demanding perfection. You no longer give away your peace to the nearest disappointments. You don't expect calm from storms or clarity from chaos. You learn to see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Imagine entering a room with no expectations. You don't assume the waiter will be polite, the driver calm, or friends to remember your birthday. You simply observe and engage. You respond with calm reason, not impulse. You've freed yourself from the chains of assumption. You are no longer shocked when someone disappoints you because you've let go of the idea that they owe you anything they never promised. This freedom is subtle but transformative. Most men tie their inner peace to others' behavior. A stranger's rudeness can ruin their whole morning. The silence of loved ones can cause weeks of tension. But what if you could untie that knot? What if you stopped expecting others to hand you carefully wrapped peace? What if you stopped demanding the wounded to act like perfection? This is the breath of Stoicism. It faces reality as it is, without demanding fairness from those who don't even understand what fairness means. It does not demand understanding from those still at war with themselves. It teaches you to meet people where they are and not let it shake you. This is something you can do right now. Think of someone who always disappoints you, a friend, colleague, or family member. Ask yourself, am I upset because of what they did or because of what I expected them to do? Write it down. Say it aloud. Let that question become your mirror. In that moment of reflection, you will see clearly. You are not betrayed. You simply expected too much. Lowering expectations isn't becoming cold, it's becoming wise. It's not the death of hope, but the birth of understanding. You don't need to stop loving others. You just need to stop letting your expectations become weapons that hurt you. Start today. I will see others as they are, not as I wish them to be. I won't beg the rain to turn into sunshine. I will build my own shelter. That is the freedom of the Stoic, not freedom from others, but freedom from the burden of needing them to be different. Thirdly, practice indifference to provocation. Some people don't want peace. They want your reaction. They provoke, irritate, waiting for you to explode because that's how they feel in control. When you lose your temper, they win. Not because they're stronger, but because they've dragged you into their chaos. The moment you react, you step into their world. You let others decide who you will become. And that is the real loss. It's not the insults, not the arguments, but allowing them to touch your soul. Indifference is not coldness. It's not ignoring injustice or pretending you're unhurt. In Stoic spirit, indifference means refusing to let anything unworthy drain your energy. You choose where your mind settles. You decide who gains access. You guard your focus as something sacred because it truly is. Every time you let a fool provoke you, you abandon your throne and descend into the mud. Recall the last time someone deliberately tried to upset you, an unknown stranger on the street, a disrespectful co-worker during a meeting. A loved one somehow knows exactly what to say to ignite your anger. You feel the flame rise. Words form. Tension tightens in your chest. That's the critical moment, the test. And most people fail. They speak too quickly, act impulsively, losing what they want to keep most, their power. Now imagine a different outcome. The same insult, the same provocation, but this time you pose. You sense the urge to react, but you don't act on it. You let the words reach your ears, but not penetrate your soul. You observe, then decide it's not worth it. You walk away, not retreating, but mastering the situation. This is not weakness. It's command. The man who doesn't blink holds the room steady. Calmness owns the moment. Epictetus said, if someone tries to harm you and you refuse to accept the pain, they fail because pain requires your consent. Insults need your agreement to take root. When you respond to noise with silence, when you stop reacting to every push, you rise beyond their reach. You become untouchable, not because you fight harder, but because you don't fight at all. This doesn't mean passivity. You still act when necessary. You set boundaries. You speak truth. But you choose your battlefield. You don't get dragged into every petty fight. You don't owe explanations to those who've already decided to misunderstand you. You don't argue with noise. You move through it. This is the emotional strength of the Stoic. It's training a calm mind in real life. Next time someone tries to provoke you, try this. Pause for 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. In the silence, feel everything but don't rush to act. Ask yourself, do I really want to give them control over me like this? Then decide that moment of pause is a space where your character takes shape. That quiet separates the strong from the reactive. Practice this daily, in small moments, in stores, traffic, or arguments. Refuse to react just to feel better. Let your silence speak for you. Let your calm confuse them. The one who shouts has lost something. The one who doesn't blink forces others to change. Let them speak. Mock. Try. But protect your energy like it's gold, because ultimately, that is your true value. When you no longer react to every provocation, you gain something precious. You gain clarity. You gain peace. You reclaim yourself. Start right now. Find a situation today where you would normally lose your temper, but don't. Smile. Breathe. Keep walking. That's how the Stoic wins quietly, without playing their game. 4. See every challenge as a test of character. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. That moment of anger, that sudden trial, isn't chaos, but a mirror held up to you. Life reveals who you are when things go wrong. Most people shrink back, complain, ask why me. But the Stoic man asks, what am I being called to build within myself right now? Pain is never personal. It's a lesson. Every disappointment is a weight your character lifts. Every failure is a forge shaping your discipline. But only when you stop reacting impulsively and start responding thoughtfully. Only when you stop seeing yourself as a victim and begin seeing yourself as the architect of your inner strength. The world doesn't get easier. You only get better at facing it. When someone disrespects you at work, when your partner suddenly loses their temper without warning, or when plans fall apart just before the finish line. You're in life's training room with 2 choices. Let that moment shrink you, or let it sharpen you. Most men get angry and blame others. The Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then decides, I will not waste this pain. The truth is, ease doesn't build character. Pressure does. Discomfort shapes the person. Difficult conversations, betrayal. Delays aren't obstacles on the road. They are the road. But you only see this when you stop running and start using them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, fire transforms whatever it burns into flame. This is not poetry. This is training. What once threatened to break you becomes your fuel. It's easy to be kind when others are kind. It's easy to stay calm when the world goes your way. But when someone shouts in your face, when life throws the unexpected, when your pride is hurt, that's when you see the truth. At that moment, your values are no longer theoretical. They are tested. That's when true strength matters, not in comfort, but under pressure. A man who can hold himself firm under pressure is the man who can overcome any challenge. Don't wait for the world to make growing up easier. It won't. What you can do is change how you see hardship. Don't view it as an interruption, but as an invitation. You are being called to step into a stronger version of yourself, and you don't need a perfect life to do that. You only need to see every uncomfortable moment as training, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Late emails, cold stares, traffic jams. That's where the real work happens. Quietly, daily, and with purpose. This is how you apply it. Next time you feel irritation rising, notice it early. Don't run from it. Name it. Then ask, what is this building inside me, and decide consciously how you will respond. Will you shout and lose control? Or will you stand firm and build resilience? Will you argue, or will you practice calm? Strength isn't something you switch on and off. It's something you train in moments like these, not by pretending not to feel, but by choosing not to be ruled by your feelings. You have the right to struggle, but not the obligation to fall. You have the right to feel the burn, but also the power to turn it into fuel. So next time life pushes against you, don't see it as an insult. See it as an opportunity, a chance to sharpen what no one else sees: your character, your self-control, your quiet strength. Watch your emotions without letting them take over. A man doesn't fall because of feelings. He falls because he obeys every feeling. Anger rises, and he acts. Fear freezes him in place. Shame makes him hide. But what if you could watch all of it like clouds passing across the sky without turning into a storm? This isn't denying emotions. It's disarming their power. Emotions are signals. They come fast, full of heat, but they are not commands. You are not your rage. You are not your anxiety. You are the witness to them appearing. And if you learn to observe without getting swept away, you keep your freedom. Freedom isn't about suppressing feelings, but refusing to be controlled by them, and that is a skill you can train like a muscle. Stoics don't say you shouldn't feel. They say feel it, but don't blindly follow it. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Someone mocks you. You feel the surge. Your jaw tightens. Your heart races. That is real. But now, pause. Instead of reacting immediately, breathe. Instead of responding, name the feeling. This is anger. I feel it, but I won't act on it. You just broke the chain of reaction. You just took the wheel. Most people never do this. They live in automatic reaction. They believe if a feeling exists, it must be expressed. But Stoic practice teaches the opposite. Between stimulus and response lies a space, and in that space, you reclaim control. This is where emotional strength is built. Not by pretending you're unaffected, but by standing firm while the inner storm rages. To do this, you must practice mindfulness. Observe without judgment. A thought arises, you don't grab it. An emotion swells, you don't let it speak for you. You simply watch in silence. And by watching, you create distance. In that distance, you find your power. We often act hastily before thinking, then blame the world for the fallout. But the root of chaos isn't what happens outside, but what inside you remains unexamined. When you hand the microphone to emotions, your values go silent. When impulses lead, your wisdom sits idle in the corner. A Stoic man reverses that order. He sees the fire but chooses not to burn. He feels the burn but doesn't strike back, knowing strength lies not in force, but in restraint. And restraint is not weakness. It's clarity. It's the quiet command of someone who has learned to wait, observe, then decide. You can start practicing anytime. At work, when frustration rises. At home, when disappointment hits. When tired. When provoked. Before you speak, pause. Before you act, check in with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling? And what do I want to build from this feeling? If the answer is nothing useful, let it pass. If it's growth, then act. But only act when the storm inside you has settled. Just 10 seconds of mindfulness can change everything. This isn't theory, it's practice. Emotional resilience is quiet and unassuming. It doesn't need applause. It lives in the silence between your feelings and your choices. And each time you pause, that silence grows stronger. You might think you're losing something by not reacting, but in truth, you're gaining everything. Balance, clarity, and your dignity. The world doesn't need more men shouting back. It needs men who stand firm, see clearly, and act only when the time is right. So start now. The next time emotions surge like ocean waves, don't fight them. Don't follow them. Stand still. Breathe. Observe. And move forward with intention, not impulse. 6. Cultivate gratitude, even in discomfort. Gratitude comes easily when the sun shines and everything goes well. But what about mornings that start with bad news? When a trusted friend lets you down, when traffic steals an hour of your life, what do? Most people complain, replay the moment, and look for someone to blame. With every complaint, they dig deeper into bitterness. But the Stoic doesn't do that. He says, knowing gratitude isn't reserved for comfort. It's a tool for clarity. Being grateful in pain doesn't mean pretending it doesn't hurt. It means recognizing discomfort as a chance to grow. A moment to sharpen patience, test endurance, and stretch humility. While others get lost in what's missing, the Stoic looks for what's present, a lesson, a shift in perspective, a strengthening of inner resolve. He sees discomfort not as peace disrupted, but as the proving ground where peace shows its true strength. Imagine waiting in a long line, running late. Your phone keeps buzzing, but nothing moves forward. You feel anger rising, the urge to sigh, to snap, wishing everything would just cooperate. Instead, you take a deep breath. You look around and tell yourself, this moment can teach me something. Suddenly, it's no longer just a line, it's a place of training. You're not wasting time, you're building endurance. That shift, the choice to see a moment differently, is how emotional strength is forged. Most men avoid discomfort. They chase convenience. But that breeds weakness, not strength. You grow when life pushes back and you choose to face it. When you ask, what is this frustration revealing about me? That question turns irritation into insight. And when you're grateful that this moment has shown you what needs improvement, you've taken the first step toward real resilience. Seneca said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. This isn't just metaphor, it's reality. Growth doesn't come from ease, but from resistance. But only when you meet resistance with the right mindset. Gratitude is that mindset. It's not about being thankful for injustice or cruelty, but thankful for the chance to respond better than before. This is transformation. You stop wishing life were easier. You start wishing you were stronger. And every difficult moment answers that wish. Gratitude becomes your strategy. You use it to reshape how you experience failure. That doesn't mean liking everything that happens. It means not wasting any experience, even the painful ones. Here's your exercise. At the end of each day, recall a moment that irritated you, a small scene that bothered you. Then ask yourself, What did this moment offer me to practice? Was it patience, a challenge to my ego, a reminder to breathe before speaking? That is your gratitude, not the event itself, but the opportunity it gave you. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Let it change how you face tomorrow. Most people live by reaction. The Stoic lives by cultivation. They don't seek comfort, they build clarity. And when suffering comes, they meet it calmly, without panic. They don't welcome every situation, but they don't let any pass without gaining something. Start doing this, not just once a week, but every day. Plant gratitude in the places that hurt. Grow it where it's missing. Watch your mind begin to change, not toward fake positivity, but toward genuine emotional independence. This kind of gratitude helps you stay calm amid chaos, focused when noise surrounds you, and live each moment more fully than anyone else around. Seventh, use your view of time to shrink problems down. A small flame looks huge when your face is too close, but step back and it's just a tiny spark. That's time's power with problems. It shrinks them not by changing events, but by changing how you see them. What feels unbearable today often becomes small when seen from a greater distance, but most people never take that step back. They live with their faces pressed against every discomfort, every insult, every delay, burning in moments that could have simply passed. The Stoic's view of time is a surgical blade. It cuts through the illusion that the present moment is everything. It teaches you to ask a better question. Will this matter in a month, a year, or 5 years? Suddenly, a sarcastic remark, a cancelled plan, a lost opportunity all lose their weight. Because most things that shake you are fleeting, they are only temporary. And a mind that knows how to wait won't suffer twice. You miss a flight. You lose a deal. Someone forgets to say thank you. In that moment, your heart races. Your mind runs wild. You build stories, rehearse reactions, and nurture resentment. But what if you pause not to deny the moment, but to see beyond it? If you quietly tell yourself, this will pass, I won't even remember it next year, that single thought can drain the poison from most emotions, not through force, but by shifting your perspective. The biggest mistake many make is believing urgency equals importance. They treat every issue like an emergency, every argument like the last one, every mistake like a death sentence. But urgency is a lie, and the Stoic knows this well. They don't rush into battles that time will settle on its own. They conserve their energy. They understand which pains to face and which to simply endure. This isn't indifference, it's discipline. Imagine standing in a storm, heavy rain, and howling wind. You're soaked, shivering, angry at the sky. But someone tells you the rain will stop in 5 minutes. You won't panic. You'll wait patiently. That's the power of perspective, holding your ground, not because it's easy, but because you know it's temporary. You suffer more when you believe the storm will last forever. But the wise know most troubles don't. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When you add time to pain, you weaken the power of imagination. That silent insult will fade next week. That failure will become a stepping stone next year. A broken heart will become a memory with its sharp edges, softened by time. And when that truth sinks deep, you won't bleed over paper cuts anymore. Here's a simple exercise. When something upsets you, don't ask, Why is this happening to me? Ask instead, how long will this matter? Then answer honestly. The truth is shorter than your reaction. It signals you to let go. And letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Let the emotions come. Feel them. But don't build your identity on them. Let time carry them away while you remain steady. You owe no explanation for your calmness. You don't need to justify your peace to those addicted to urgency. Just know your peace grows as your vision expands. Let time be your ally. Use it to filter what deserves your energy and what does not. Then you'll see how many problems seem huge simply because you stand too close. Step back. Breathe. Shrink the perspective. 5 years from now, most worries you have today won't matter. So don't let passing clouds block your light. Let time reveal what truly matters. Let your vision restore peace. And walk through today with a steady mind grounded in distance, not noise. This is how you rise quietly, unwavering. Every man longs for strength, not the noisy kind that seeks attention, but the silent strength that cannot be shaken. What you hear today is not theory, it's practice. The quiet discipline of controlling emotions, pausing to think, choosing wisely, and guarding your peace as if your life depended on it. Because in many ways, it does. When you master your reactions, lower expectations of others, and see every irritation as a test of character, you transform. You're no longer a slave to emotion, no longer pulled every which way by noise, people, or circumstances. You begin to live with clarity. Stoics aren't saints. They are people who struggled just like you, but they trained their minds daily through self-reflection, silence, and intentional responses. And now, you can do the same. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You just need to show up. You need practice. Remember, inner peace isn't found. It's built through habits and choices. So today, start with the smallest steps. When someone speaks harshly, don't respond in kind. When your plans change, don't complain. When discomfort arises, meet it with awareness. Train emotional strength like a muscle. Turn every challenge into your training ground. And over time, the world remains noisy, but you won't be. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What recent moment tested your peace? How did you respond? Let this space be your growth journal, a mirror reflecting the person you're becoming. Remember, true calm isn't the absence of conflict. It's the refusal to let your mind surrender to chaos. Hold on to that truth. Live it, and carry it quietly but firmly.